Based on the real-world dog sport of Earth Dog comes Dirt Dog, a new board game by Matt Shoemaker. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
So, first of all, you have to explain what Earth Dog is so that and then jump in to tell us what Dirt Dog is. Earth Dog is something new. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, so Earth Dog, it's been around for quite some time. What it is it's a dog sport that you can do either with just your dog or in teams called braces,
Okay.
where you take your dog out and people have dug underground and made these mazes with obstacles in them for your dogs to go underground in. And what they're trying to do is find a rat at the end of the tunnel. So they're basically trying to follow the scent of the animal to try to get in there and see who can do it the fastest.
This is a real, like, this is a national sport, like all across the country,
Yeah, it's
or
international.
it's
Happens all over the
international?
place.
Wow, I
Yep.
have never heard of
Careers
this.
of
That,
dot-coms.
Wow.
all right, so my dog does this under our bed when we want her to get out of our room. Is that like she's basically just been practicing? Is probably what that is.
Sounds exactly like it.
That's
perfect.
good. So then now let's move into Dirt Dog. Tell us about the game you've made based on this odd dog sport.
Yeah, so Dirt Dog is loosely based on Earth Dog, which I just described.
Yeah.
Basically, it's for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up. And what you do is you are in controlling a dog, like this nice little Australian Terrier here. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
Where they run through the tunnels that your opponent builds for you, fills them with obstacles, and you're trying to catch one of 6 different types of critters at the end of the tunnel. There's a rat, a bunny, a badger, a red fox, a woodchuck, and a raccoon that could all be waiting for you at the end. But essentially, the way the game works is that you have a set of 5 different skills that your dog has, plus a pool of what we call moxie. And what you're trying to do is go through the tunnels to defeat the obstacles with your skills. And you play what we call obedience cards to help boost your dog's skills in certain situations. You only have 6 of those for the entire game, so you need to spend them wisely.
Okay.
And if you cannot defeat an obstacle, you must spend something from your moxie pool. So what you want to do is get to the end of the burrow that your opponent has built for you, defeat all the obstacles, defeat the critter at the end, and have more moxie left over than your opponent. Because after you run a burrow, you're going to flip it around and you're going to build a burrow for your opponent, who then needs to run through and do the exact same thing. The game plays in 3 rounds. The winner of most of the 3 rounds is the winner of the game.
So how do you build these obstacles? So you've got your cards that you just showed us, which is your dogs. But how are the obstacles and how are the courses being built by the opponent?
So there's other cards, like we have this one here. This is an obstacle card for the burrow. What you do with those cards is you draw a deck of 5, 6, or 7 of them, depending on which round you're in.
Okay.
And then you have to decide on how many you're going to use to build the burrow with. Because you have 2 options. You can use a card to build a burrow, which is going to be an obstacle for your opponent. Or you can save it for your own dog on its run, and it will help boost your dog's skills. It's kind of extra.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have a little decision point you need to make with that.
So you're basically making a map with cards. Is that the idea? On the table?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly the idea. Yeah.
That's very, very cool.
So it's a risk reward as to whether or not you want to make it super difficult for your opponent, but then risk having a difficult run yourself.
Exactly, because you can find out depending how you lay out the cards, it could be really easy for your opponent or really difficult, or it could be the same for yourself. And it's all kind of just gambling on what it's going to be for yourself when you go through.
So aside from Earth Dog, obviously as being an inspiration for this, what was your inspiration in making this? Are you involved? Like, do you compete in Earth Dog yourself? Is this where did that come from for you?
Yeah, so I have a dachshund named Leva, and she's gone to Earth Dog before. We don't really compete in it or anything like that, but we've just kind of done it for fun.
Okay.
It's a nice day to go out on a nice spring or summer day and just kind of have her do her thing and have fun with her and make sure that she's enjoying what she's doing and hang out with other dogs and other people.
And where did the spark come to? It's like, this would make a board game, because most people outside you're out playing with their dog, they don't go like, how do I turn frisbee throwing into a board game? How did that spark hit for you?
Yeah, so I'm a librarian and I make a lot of games for educational based purposes and things.
Oh, nice.
And so what I like to do is I like to make games based off of real world systems a lot of times. So Dirt Dog, or Earth Dog, I should say, had a lot of things in it that I figured would make a good game. It had like little maze components for challenges. It had the different obstacles you had to get through there. There was a time-based component to it. And all these things could translate pretty well to a board game. Obviously, I changed them around a bit, made it into it's why it's based off the game. It's not an exact replica of it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But so instead of time, we've got Moxie. Instead of building an actual obstacle course, you're kind of building this stacked deck that you're arranging in a way that you think is going to challenge your opponent. And we've got, of course, to translate what the dog's getting through there to these skills that are real-world skills the dog has, how well they can smell, for instance, how fierce their bark is, things like that, or the kind of skills your dog has. And it just translated into a game pretty well, I felt.
That's awesome. So the dogs that are in the game, are they based on real-world dogs?
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of. The artwork is, so
Okay.
it's based off of real-world dogs.
But
And
are they real pets is what I mean. Like, did you take friends' pets and turn them into cards and such?
So a couple of them are. We've only got 3 dogs in the game right now. There's going to be 10,
Okay.
and the reason is because we've left 7 of them open for Kickstarter backers to get their own dog in the game.
Wow, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome. So the hope is that all the dogs in the game are based on someone's pet.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's very cool. That's it's very unique, obviously, for those players. That's excellent.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, we figured we had spots and dogs we could use, and it'd be great to get other people involved in that way. So why not open it up for people to get their own pets in the game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, particularly, when you are basing that off of real world stuff, it's fantastic. So I noticed that there's a head to head and team play. Does that differ at all in the way it's played?
Only slightly. So the teams are, you play with 2 dogs on each team,
Yep.
and you're choosing one dog is going to run each round. So you're not running 4 dogs around. You're just running head to head. The main difference that comes in is that you can call for assistance from your brace mate, which is what your teammate's called,
Okay.
up to 2 times per challenge. So basically, their dog will take over the challenge instead of yours if it's something your dog has a difficulty with.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yeah. But other than that, it basically plays the same. The burrows are longer because the opponents build them with both their decks of cards, or their hands of cards, I should say, at the same time. So they're twice as long. But you've got more cards to work with, and you can coordinate which of your obedience cards you're going to use, and if you need a little help from your teammate.
Okay, that's awesome. What is in your game? What's your favorite breed of dog? What you said you have a dog, so is she in your game, and is she your favorite?
Yeah, she's in the game, and yeah, I mean, she's my favorite. I don't know if she's my favorite one to play.
Oh.
But she's my favorite card.
You didn't make her the best dog in the deck?
No, I mean, each dog is different. They've got their advantages and disadvantages. I wouldn't say there's one is necessarily the best dog. She does just fine, though.
What's her advantage?
Her advantage is she has the largest pool of Moxie available to her.
Of
But
course.
that means she's got really bad skills in some of the areas. So kind of trade off.
And is that your pup in the cover art?
No, that is not mine on the cover art. I believe that's one of Nathaniel Mortensen did the illustration for this game. I believe that's one of his dogs.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
look, that dog on your cover art looks so similar to my dog that when I saw that originally, I'm like, how did they get a picture of my dog for the cover art?
Nice.
So, future plans for the game, assuming you're going to be funded on Kickstarter, are there any expansion plans in the works? Any extra cards, any stretch goals that you might want to tell us about?
No, actually, we're keeping this campaign pretty simple. So we're not planning any stretch goals. We're not planning extra cards. We're not planning any expansions. So this game is pretty much as a one-off. It's intended to be a pretty simple, straightforward game that you can play either in between games. It's only like 15 to 20 minutes to go through a game.
Okay.
So it's a nice filler game. It's something that you can, if you have kids at home, that you can play with them really easily in between, or just for some afternoon fun. It's intended to be straightforward and simple in that sense.
Have you had any very memorable moments come out of gameplay as you're testing it?
Well, just a few times. There's been exciting moments when you're running through and you get to an obstacle that you can't beat, and then suddenly your opponent makes the obstacle even more difficult for you using their obedience cards.
Oh, no.
And you go through 2 or 3 rounds of just playing these different obedience cards on top of each other, and you finally come out ahead, and you're able to defeat the obstacle and go through. and then it's extra nice because you only have so many obedience cards in the whole game, and that's it. So sometimes when you come through and win the round anyway, even though you're out of obedience cards, you spent them all on this one hand, this one round.
Right.
Plays out. That's been pretty exciting.
Because you only have a limited set of cards you're going to play to get through the obstacles, right?
Right.
And if
Yeah,
you
you
run,
gotta
if you run out of cards, you can't complete the obstacle course.
not most likely not. No.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of good strategy going on in there.
Yeah.
So post Kickstarter, are you planning to have? Are you planning to sell this after the Kickstarter? After you've got it all to all your backers, do you plan to sell it, or is this a Kickstarter only chance of getting it?
We'll have it available on our website, and we'll have it available when we do shows. Hit 'em with a Shoe does go to Gen Con every year. We have a booth there. But other than that, it's going to be Kickstarter's your best bet to get it in the easiest way.
Excellent. So the Kickstarter is going on right now. I do have to ask you though, hit 'em with a shoe. Where does that name of your company come from?
Yeah, so there's two parts to that. First part is my last name is Shoemaker, so we took that.
Yes.
The other part is it's just from an old nursery rhyme our grandmother used to tell us when we were kids about sleeping tight with bed bugs and hitting them with shoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck on your campaign. Everyone, go check out the campaign. The link is in the description right now. Go check it out. If you love dogs as much as I know Tico does, obviously as much as Matt does. I'm the cat guy. I'm sorry. But go check it out. Back it. Matt, I'm sorry. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, yes. Thank you for having me. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Back the game, and please join the OMG Network Nexus. The link is below here.